They were talking about a grapefruit league and a pineapple league or something like that.
Cactus League. It's Grapefruit and Cactus League, and it would be divisions based off the geographical positioning of the spring training ballparks. Now, that would obviously make sense for the Cactus League because all the 15 Cactus League teams are in Arizona. But for the Grapefruit League, they had to really do it a little differently in terms of randomizing the divisions. A lot of them are still some of the same divisions together. They didn't really separate the leagues too much in terms of too many National League teams and too many American League teams, but yeah, it is based on the location of the ballparks, obviously, to stop the spread or prevent the spread.
My question here is, if you look at the big picture here, why is baseball trying to change again what they have in place? Now, I understand they're going to be cutting the games down. I understand they would rather have these players play in Arizona, or these teams play in Arizona, or wherever they're going to position themselves into playing in these hot climate places because it'll keep them away from Corona. But does this help the game? Does this help the league right now? Now, the coronavirus, probably by the time July comes around, will really be seizing down. It's going to get hotter out. It's going to be warmer out. And they say that's what kills this disease. That's what kills this virus. So why is baseball trying to take professional baseball games to play in Yankee Stadium or Boston or Florida or one of these places, where even though it's warm, and believe it or not, in that time in July, in New York, it's about almost 100 degrees. Think about it. Last year, in the month of July, we had the hottest week in the whole year. That week, we had 90 or higher degree weather for almost 9 days straight. Now, 9 days would kill that virus. It would kill it. Why are they... I understand Rob Manfred is trying to protect the culture of the league. They want to try to protect the brand and their players and your young superstars so nothing happens to them. These are all young players. And unless they have medical problems, with which most of them do not, why are they trying to change the way the league is going to be played for this particular season? Now, we've seen strikes. We've seen years with strikes where the season was cut down to 80 games or 70 games. We've seen this before. We've seen it. Now, the season is going to be cut down because it's not probably going to start until probably, I'm predicting, at the end of June, beginning of July. So the season will be cut down to probably 100 games, 90 games. Why are they deciding to move these divisions together in a Grapefruit and Cactus League and decide, you know what, we're only going to play these games in certain areas, certain heated areas, warm weathered areas, because we don't trust that this outbreak is not going to come back and kill off even more people. Meanwhile, right now we're at the peak of the whole virus situation. And by the time July comes around and the season's ready to begin, there probably aren't going to be a lot of cases here anymore. So why is the league trying to change this? Why is the league like Rob Manfred? And Rob Manfred should not be changing anything right now, because right now, as a commissioner, he's one of the laughing stocks in professional baseball. But the whole Houston Astro thing coming out the way it did a couple of weeks ago, really almost a month and a half ago, and now the whole Red Sox investigation, this story coming out, if this really transitions into a Cactus and Grapefruit League for the rest of the season of this year, I think that this is going to hurt the league. It's going to hurt baseball.
Now, you don't think, though, this kind of system, just based on the way the ballparks are located, would help maximize the amount of games that can possibly be played whenever it does come back?
I think the games are going to be maximized as much as they can make it. And even if it's in July or even in August when they start, when they feel it's safe, they're going to try to cut it down half. So if they start mid-July or if they start early July, they'll play 100 games. If they start mid-July, they're probably going to play 90 or 80 games. They're going to cut this season down in half. You're still going to have enough time to finish the season by sometime at the end of September. And then you'll be ready for October, really. And then you'll probably start the World Series maybe 2 weeks after it usually starts every single year.
Okay, because the reason I asked that is because I think if they do end up having these ballpark proximity differences impacted, they can do more games early on, I guess, when they do try to push the process, where they could be more confident with them not spreading the virus. Now, obviously, if it does happen and a player gets it or something like that, or multiple players get it, then it's obviously going to be harder. But I feel like this kind of thing will at least help, at least in the beginning. Now, the thing that I'm more wondering is how they're going to do the scheduling with this. What percentage of the games will be division games? And will they still maybe impact the previous divisions? Because right now, let's just say take the American League East. All the American League East teams are still in the Grapefruit League. So they could still have the Yankees play the Red Sox in a 3-game series or a doubleheader or 2 games with a doubleheader or something like that. They can still play the Rays. They're still going to have those kind of things. It looks to me, with the exception, I think, of the AL Central, it looks to me like most of the divisions
How about the Grapefruit League
intact.
North? New York Yankees, Philadelphia Phillies, Toronto Blue Jays, the Detroit Tigers, and the Pittsburgh Pirates. I mean, that's a weird division right there.
That
really
helps the Yankees, though. Think about it. You have 2 of the worst teams in baseball in your division.
And they put Philadelphia there. Is it
Philadelphia is really the
Joe
only
Girardi?
Right.
Is that the reason? Is that the reason why?
Mm-hmm. That's really the only competitive team. The Blue Jays will get better, but they're still rebuilding, and they would have been in there anyway with the regular American League East.
But it would have been the same in the division in the American League East this year too.
Not really, because now you have 2
Tampa's
rebuilding teams.
Tampa's the only good team. Toronto's all right, and the Red Sox are going to stink.
But the Red Sox are still a lot better than the Tigers or the Pirates, though, right now.
I don't know about that. I don't know where
the Pirates are really far away.
The Red Sox lost Chris Sale for the rest of the season. They have no pitching. They have a terrible pitching staff right now. Their bullpen is really bad. I mean, what do they have? What makes the Red Sox so good
what
this
are
year?
the Pirates and the Tigers have? They have
I bet
nothing.
you the Pirates, and I bet you either the Pirates or Detroit will have a better record than the Red Sox this year.
Really?
I think the Red Sox are going to stink this year.
Because the Tigers' farm system is very behind, too, because they've made a lot of bad trades, and they haven't really traded much because they were a high-spending team, and the Pirates have made a lot of bad trades recently, too.
I don't like this. I don't like the transition of this, the Grapefruit League and the Cactus League, because now when you're looking at it, it doesn't make any sense. Even look at that. The South League. You have the South. You have in the Grapefruit League. You have the Boston Red Sox, the Minnesota Twins, the Atlanta Braves, the Tampa Bay Rays, and the Baltimore Orioles.
That's a tough division with the Twins, Braves, and Rays. Wow.
I mean, seriously. And then you go to the East: Washington, Houston, the Mets,
the Cardinals,
St. Louis, and the Marlins.
So that's, again, 3/5 of the NL East right there. So, again, if you're judging the NL East now, the Mets will still get to end up playing the Phillies, who are in the Grapefruit League, and the Braves, who are in the Grapefruit League South. So it's not, to me, I don't think it's that much of a difference, assuming that the scheduling isn't too fluctuated where they're going to play a ton of interleague play, because interleague play obviously isn't going to exist as much because there's American League teams and National League teams both in the Cactus League. And that'll be interesting, too. Are they going to play with one set of rules? Are they going to play... if a National League team is the home team, do they play National League rules or American League rules, or will they both play the same way? Will they both play Grapefruit League? Will both play American League, or maybe Grapefruit League will play National League, or vice versa? It'll be interesting to see how they do that too. But the scheduling is what I'm interested to see, because there are a lot of mutual divisions still in play. But again, in terms of the geographic proximity, I like it in terms of enhancing.
I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. I
think it'll help get the amount of games.
I don't think the league should change anything around right now. I think if you're going to come back, if you're going to have a baseball season, start the season the way you're supposed to start the season. Now, does that mean that the Yankees aren't going to play in Yankee Stadium this year? No, that does not mean that. There'll be games in Yankee Stadium just as much as Citi Field. These stadiums need to make money. There are a lot of people that have jobs and they need their jobs back, and the league needs to bring baseball back to their respectable stadiums. So I do believe that they're going to play in Yankee Stadium at least 40 times this year. And the same thing with all these teams. They're going to get a chance to play at their home stadiums at least 40 to 45 times this year. It's just, to me, this whole coronavirus has affected everything in professional sports. Now, I know when you talk about your health and everything that's going on in the world, baseball and sports are the last thing anybody thinks of. They're thinking about their families, their health, and really moving forward in their lives. They're not even talking about entertainment and sports. It just affects everything, because sports is a part of people's lives. It really is. It takes over a lot of people's lives.
See, now here's the problem with that, though, with what you're saying. They could come back and play it at their stadiums later on. But what happens if they schedule it in place? The teams have a lot of home games early on when they would be playing in Arizona, and then all of a sudden they change it later in the season when they think it's safe again to come back. Then all of a sudden some teams are going to be at a disadvantage playing more road games.
That's something that baseball's going to have to figure out. That's why I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think changing the leagues and changing the divisions right now where it makes sense where all these teams are going to get all their games in. You're going to get 80 games in, even if you start in the first week of July. You're getting 80 games in because you're averaging between 30 and 40 games every single month. That's what you're doing. If you're going to do maybe two or 3 days in a month with a doubleheader, that's going to add you a significant amount of games. So if you're playing between 30 and 40 games every single month, you do the math. 3 months, you have the month of July, August, and September. That's 90 games.
Yeah, but the other problem with that is how do you account for rainouts now? Because then you would have to...
You play.
You just play in the rain?
You play.
Oh, that's
you play.
Interesting.
You have to play. You have to get the games in. And if you have to call it, you have to call the game for a couple hours and bring it. As long as it's not lightning or thundering, you're going to have to find a way to get that game in.
Right, because even NFL stops on lightning and thunder too. So that would be the big dilemma because Chase Field is fine the way it is with it being a retractable roof in terms of playing those games. I'm not sure on all the Cactus League parks if they were to do that. That would make it tougher too, but it barely rains in Arizona anyway, so I don't think that would be an issue either. So you would just want to play in the rain, even if it comes down to it, just to play in those stadiums. That's interesting.
I think that the league's going to have to try to figure something out. If it's not snowing and it's not thundering and lightning where you can get shocked or killed, being electrocuted, well, I think that you should play in the game even with the rain. These players are making millions and millions of dollars. And this is a league right now that's going to try to get as many games as they can get out of the next 3 months. And you can still really have a playoff in the month of October and November because that's when, usually at the end of October is when the playoffs are completely over. So if you're adding 2 more weeks in the month of October and the beginning of November, oh, well, so be it.
Right. Now, I agree with you on the fact that I think the home field should stay in place for the playoffs. I think at that point, whether it's late October, whether it's November, whenever they start, it should be past enough by then where it's going to be safe to be able to move in those stadiums. I'm just saying for the whole regular season, it's going to be tougher with the scheduling, the way it works out, to just all of a sudden switch into the stadiums.
That's why I don't want to change it. I don't want to change the season. I don't want to change the leagues. I know baseball, I mean, this is right now the talk. This is what the league is trying to push forward for this year. It hasn't. Has this been guaranteed that this is what they're going to be doing?
No, it's only been talked about right now. But right now, it's the safest precaution in terms of not having to travel as much.
Well, I think baseball needs to take a step back and realize this could ruin the whole season of baseball. It really could. I don't know.
I mean, everyone's in the same circumstance, though, so it's not really.
Yeah, but what are you telling the fans? Well, you're not going to have a season at Citi Field where you can go and watch a baseball game. You're not going to have a season in Yankee Stadium where you can sit and go and watch a baseball game.
But they would have had that anyway. They would just had no fans in the stands anyway, though.
I don't think they're going to call the season, and the fans are not going to be able to go and watch their teams. I think that baseball needs to take a step back and realize that when you look at the big picture here, by the time they're ready to start, everything's going to be slowing down. There's not going to be a huge amount of coronavirus that you're going to hear here in the States or in New York or even in the United States. You're not going to see it a lot here. It's going to happen more overseas because their winters are about to begin, like South Africa and Brazil. Their winters are about to begin, where you're going to hear a lot of that over there. But I think everything's going to cool down over here in the States. So why would you do that where you can ruin the whole season of baseball? I don't agree with that. I don't. I disagree.
Well, again, it's the safest precaution right now. And again, I understand where you're coming from with the fans, but I also think in terms of the structure of the schedule, depending on how many games it's going to be, it's still going to be very hard to be able to do something like that throughout the whole season. And again, it's not like any team is going to definitely benefit more than another if they were playing without fans either. It'd be all the same money loss or whatever in terms of the team revenue. So in terms of that, yeah, it'll sting in terms of not getting the revenue for the ticket sales, but in terms of the schedules, it's going to be hard to replace it later anyway, so that's going to make it tough.